أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم سورة أنزلناها وفرضناها وأنزلنا فيها آيات بينات لعلكم تذكرون. Assalamu alaikum, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Ramadan with Zidane. Today is the 9th of Ramadan and hope your Ramadan is going healthy, wealthy and wise, and everyone is reaping the rahmas and barakas of this beloved month. I hope everyone has been steadfast in their duties in this month, which includes of course praying salat, giving zakat and fasting steadfastly in the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, as it is said in Surah Ahqaf that inna allazina qalu rabbana Allah summa istaqamu fala khawfun alayhim wala hum yahzanun. Those people who say our Lord is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and those who stay steadfast on this path, they will have no fear on them and they will not grieve. We are back to Surah Yusuf, which is the 12th surah of the Quran. It is 112 verses, 12 sections or 12 rukus, and in the sequence of the surahs, it is the 53rd surah to be revealed. Last time when we left off, we of course know the story of Yusuf alayhi salam, how he was born in Canaan, which is the region where Yaqub alayhi salam was, and from there how he was picked up by a caravan in Egypt and how he rose up the ranks. Now he is the financial minister of Egypt, as we start from verse number 58. As you remember in the timeline, there was now going to be the time after 7 good years of grains and all this. There will be 7 years of drought, and this is the 7 years of drought that has started. So now Yusuf alayhi salam is 37 years old. When he was 17 years old, he was picked up by the caravan. In 20 years old, he was thrown in the prison. At 30, he was released from prison and made the financial minister. Now at 37, the drought has started. So without further ado, A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. وَجَاءُوا إِخْوَةُ يُوسُفَ فَدَخَلُوا عَلَيْهِ فَعَرَفَهُمْ وَهُمْ لَهُ مُنْكِرُونَ. And the brothers of Yusuf alayhi salam entered upon him, and they did not recognize him, but he recognized them. Now, as we might remember, you might recall in the first episode of this surah, first part, there was a part where we told that when Yusuf alayhi salam was put into the well, it was وَأَوْحَيْنَا إِلَيْهِ لَتُنَبِّئَنَّهُمْ بِأَمْرِهِمْ هَذَا وَهُمْ لَا يَشْعُرُونَ. That it was revealed to him that indeed one day you will actually inform those people, you inform your brothers about this matter, and they will not remember, but then they will remember when you will inform them of this matter. Now, as we know, from at the 7 years end of the drought, of course, because of Yusuf alayhi salam's excellent financial strategy, Egypt was now on the forefront, and all of the other regions like Nubia, Canaan, from everywhere around the Arabian Peninsula and the African continent, people came to collect the food and supplies for the drought. Just like this, Yusuf alayhi salam's brothers who were from the region of Canaan, they came to collect the supplies for the drought. So this is exactly the setting up to this part in the timeline. ولما جهزوا بجهازهم قالوا ائتوني بأخ لكم من أبيكم ألم ترون أني أوفي الكيل وأنا خير المنزلين. Now next verse, that when he gave them their provisions, he gave them everything. He was very, as we told in the last episode, that he was very attached to Binyamin, who was the younger brother with him. So they were both very close in terms of brothers from the rest of them. So again, Yusuf alayhi salam, he says to them that, where is your younger brother? Why haven't you brought him after he filled them with the provision? Don't you see that I'm giving you the full measure of the provision and that I'm the best of the hosts? Now, of course, after the incident of Yusuf alayhi salam, when he was thrown in the well, Yaqub alayhi salam thought that indeed he's also very one of my favorites, and indeed I hope the bigger brothers do not get jealous of him and also do him some harm. So after that, he did not really send Binyamin on any alone with the brothers. فَإِلَّمْ تَأْتُونِي بِهِ فَلَا كَيْلَ لَكُمْ هِنْدِي وَلَا تَقْرَبُونَ. And if you do not bring him to me, there will be no measure of corn, of grain, and you will not come near me. I will not serve you any of the grain. قَالُوا سَنُرَاوِدُ عَنْهُ أَبَاهُ وَإِنَّا لَفَاعِلُونَ. They said, indeed, we are going to talk this, we are going to have a discussion with our father, and we will return back. وَقَالَ لِفِتْيَانِ اجْعَلُوا بِضَاعَتَهُمْ فِي رِحَالِهِمْ لَعَلَّهُمْ يَعْرِفُونَهَا إِذَا انقَلَبُوا إِلَىٰ أَهْلِهِمْ لَعَلَّهُمْ يَرْجِعُونَ. So now he told his servants that, of course, now Yusuf alayhi salam gave the corn back to them, of course the mayor, and he also returned the money from which they brought the provisions. He told his servants that put these money back in their bag, so that when they return, when they go to their home, they open up their bags, they see that the money has been returned to them. It is a sign that they are going to come back. فلما رجعوا إلى أبيهم قالوا يا أبانا مني الكيل منا فأرسل معنا أخانا نقتل وإنا له لحافظون. So when they went towards their their father, they went to him, they said, oh our father, indeed they have restricted the provisions on this. Of course, one provision was not enough, so it was wholly drought, a time of drought. So again, they said that indeed one provision is not enough, so we have to go back there, but they're restricting the kail, they're restricting the provision from us, so bring with us or brother, we are going to be as protector for him. Now, قال هل آمنكم عليه إلا كما آمنتكم على يوسف من قبل فالله خير حافظا وهو أرحم الراحمين. So Yaqub alayhi salam in return says, should I trust him onto you just like I trust Yusuf alayhi salam way back before then? But indeed Allah is the best to guard, and He is the one who shows the mercy. وَلَمَّا فَتَحُوا مَتَاعَهُمْ وَجَدُوا بِضَاعَتَهُمْ رُدَّتْ إِلَيْهِمْ. And when they opened their bags, they found that their money had been returned. قَالُوا يَا أبانا ما نبغي هذه بدعتنا ردت إلينا. They said, oh our father, what more can we desire? The money has been given back to us. ونمير أهلنا ونحفظ أخانا ونزداد كيل بعير ذلك كيل يسير. Now again they are very now happy, so the spirits are raised. So they say, indeed we will get more food, we will guard our brother, and we will add more mayor, that is equal to camel's load. This will be very easy for us. ذلك كيل يسير, and very easy for the king too. قال لن أرسله معكم حتى تؤتوني موثقا من الله لتؤتونني به إلا يحاط بكم فلما آتوا ولا موثقهم قال الله ولا ما نقول وكيل. And now Yaqub alayhi salam said, I will not send Binyamin with you until you swear an oath by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, your sincerest of oath, that you will bring him back to me unless you are surrounded by enemies. Even then, okay, then if you get killed, it's not a problem, but you have to bring me back sincerely. When they sworn on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's name that they are going to bring him back, he said, Allah is witness for what we said. وَقَالَ يَا بُنَيَّ لَا تَدْخُلُوا مِنْ بَابٍ وَاحِدٍ وَادْخُلُوا مِنْ أَبْوَابٍ مُتَفَرِّقَاتٍ وَمَا أُغْنِي عَنْكُمْ مِنَ اللَّهِ مِنْ شَيْءٍ. Now Yaqub alayhi salam, he says, O sons, do not go from one single gate, go from different gates into the city of Memphis, and I cannot avail from you anything against Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. إِنِ الْحُكْمُ إِلَّا لِلَّهِ. Whatever Allah plans will happen. Alayhi tawakkaltu wa alayhi falyatawakkal mutawakkilun. Indeed, on him I trust, and on him all the other people who trust in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala trust. Now why is it being said over here that go from different gates and not from one gate? This was not to arouse suspicion. They would not have been suspicious of them that they are for some thieving purpose, that they are all going from different gates, not going from one singular gate. They are not thieves. ولما دخلهم من حيث ما أمرهم أبوهم ما كان يغني عنهم من الله من شيء إلا حاجة في نفس يعقوب قضاها. Now, when they went from different gates, it was not gonna avail them anything against Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's plan. Now again, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the greatest planner. Whatever He wills, the plan will happen. But it was of course something that Yaqub alayhi salam had a little bit of uneasiness, and he finished that uneasiness. وَإِنَّهُ لَذُو عِلْمٍ لِمَا عَلَّمْنَاهُ وَلَكِنَّ أَكْثَرَ النَّاسِ لَا يَعْلَمُونَ. And indeed, because he was a prophet, he was taught with that ilm, that knowledge that most people weren't taught with, and most people do not know of that knowledge. That is of course the knowledge of prophethood. We discussed about that in the previous episodes. وَلَمَّا دَخَلُوا عَلَى يُوسُفَ آوَى إِلَيْهِ أَخَاهُ قَالَ إِنِّي أَنَا أَخُوكَ فَلَا تَبْتَئِسْ بِمَا كَانُوا يَعْمَلُونَ. And when his brother, that is his younger brother Binyamin, came to him, he took him to a room and he said, indeed I am your brother, so do not be scared, or do not be grieved by what they used to do. So do not grieve. Now what happened over here was فلما جهزوا بجهازهم جعل السقاية في رحل أخيه ثم أذن مؤذن أيتها العير إنكم لسارقون. Now when he gave them their provisions, he put the bag. Of course there was a golden bowl that belonged to the king, and he put it in his brother's bag. And then he made a person to say that indeed in the caravan you are thieves. Singled them out. قالوا وأقبلوا عليهم ماذا تفقدون. Then they returned to them and said, what is your matter? قالوا نفقد سوى الملك ولمن جاء به حمل بعير وأنا به زعيم. They say that indeed the king's bowl is missing, and whoever brings it will have a very heavy load of rewards. قالوا تالله لقد علمتم ما جئنا لنفسد في الأرض وما كنا سارقين. Then the brother said, indeed by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you know that we did not come here for any mischief, and indeed we are not any thieves. قال فما جزاؤه إن كنتم كاذبين. They said, what is the reward for this? What is the punishment for this if you are lying? قال جزاؤه من وجد في رحله فهو جزاء كذلك نجزي الظالمين. They say that whoever will have the bag in which the bowl is present, the king's bowl, then indeed he will be held accountable for that. And this is how we reward those people who are the thieves. فبدأ بأوديتهم قبل وعائه ثم استخرج من وعائه كذلك كدنا ليوسف. So they all went in the bags of everyone, and then they got out the bag, that is of course the bag of his brother. This is how he planned it for Yusuf alayhi salam. كذلك كدنا ليوسف. Now again, the same thing that is being emphasized in this surah is that, O Yusuf alayhi salam, you have been bestowed upon. There has been the grace, the fadl of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala upon you, just like He has brought you out from the prison, just like He has saved you from the jealousy of your brothers, saved you from the corrupt Egyptian society, just like this is the grace of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. ما كان لدين الملك ما كان ليأخذ أخاه في الدين الملك إلا أن يشاء الله نرفع درجات لمن نشاء وفوق كل ذي علم عليم. Now, it was not in the system, it was not in the law that he could take the law of the king that there was a slave. He could not do any, slavery was not prohibited, and he could not take his brother as it was over here. So this is why this was planned, because it was not in the law. So this is how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala planned for Yusuf alayhi salam. Now in the meantime, when this is happening, Yusuf alayhi salam and Binyamin, they had a good time. They had a get together. They caught up on the time that was lost. And they had a very good time. Now this is the perspective from the brothers. قالوا إن يسرق فقد سرق أخ له من قبل فأسر يوسف في نفسه ولم يبديها ما عنهم قال أنتم شر مكان والله أعلم بما تصفون. Now the old self of those brothers that returned. And now they are saying that indeed if he steals, there was a brother before him who also stole. That was telling about Yusuf alayhi salam. They were again being bad. They were again very unhappy. They got angry. فَأَسَرَّ يُوسُفُ نَفْسِهِ. And then Yusuf alayhi salam thought to himself, and he did not tell them that you people are again in the worst case, in astray, and Allah knows better of what you do. قالوا يا أيها العزيز إن له أبا شيخا كبيرا فقد أخذنا مكان عنده إننا نراك من المحسنين. They said, oh ruler. Now again I'm telling you, Aziz is a title for a lot of things. Again, Al-Aziz can mean ruler of the land. Al-Aziz can mean the one who is respected and noble. So they said, oh ruler of the land, indeed he has a very old father who really cares for him, so take any one of us as a exchange, as a prisoner exchange. Indeed we see you from those who do good. قال معاذ الله أن نتخذ ما إلا ما وجدنا متاعنا عنده إنا إذا لظالمون. Then Yusuf alayhi salam said that indeed I seek refuge from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that I take someone except from him, because this is unjust. He is the one who stole, so he should be the one who will serve the punishment. فَلَمَّا اسْتَيْأَسُوا مِنْهُ خَلَصُوا نَجِيًّا. Now when Yusuf alayhi salam went away with the prisoner, they held a conference in private. They had a little bit of a discussion. قال كبيرهم, the eldest of the brothers said, أَلَمْ تَعْلَمُوا أَنَّ اللَّهَ قَدْ أَخَذَ عَلَيْكُمْ مَوْثِقًا مِنَ اللَّهِ أَنَّ أَبَاكُمْ قَدْ أَخَذَ عَلَيْكُمْ مَوْثِقًا مِنَ اللَّهِ وَمِنْ قَبْلُ مَا فَرَّطْتُمْ فِي يُوسُفَ. And the eldest one said that indeed don't you remember that you took an oath with your father, and indeed you know what happened before when you failed in your duty with Yusuf alayhi salam. فَلَنْ أَبْرَهَ الْأَرْضَ حَتَّى يَأْذِنَ لِي أَبِي أَوْ يَحْكُمَ اللَّهُ لِي وَهُوَ خَيْرُ الْحَاكِمِينَ. فَلَنْ أَبْرَهَ الْأَرْضَ, I will not leave this earth until Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala commands to me. That is of course a way of saying that Binyamin would be released, or أَوْ يَحْكُمُ اللَّهُ أو يأذن لي أبي, that my father would permit me, أو يحكم الله لي, or Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would give me the command. ارجعوا إلى أبيكم فقولوا يا أبانا إن ابنك سرق وما شهدنا إلا بما علمنا وما كنا للغيب حافظين. So the eldest one said that, O you of the brothers, return to your father and say, indeed your son has stolen about Binyamin, and indeed we are only saying what we know, and we do not know the ghaib, the unseen. وَاسْأَلْ قَرْيَةِ الَّتِي كُنَّا فِيهَا وَعِيرَ الَّتِي أَقْبَلْنَا فِيهَا وَإِنَّا لَصَادِقُونَ. And ask those people, the caravan that we have been with, and the people of the town where we have been, that was Memphis, and indeed you're going to know that we are telling the truth. As you know, Egyptian society, everything spread very quickly. قَالَ بَلْ سَوَّلَتْ لَكُمْ أَنفُسُكُمْ أَمْرًا. Now again Yaqub alayhi salam, when he's being tested, just like he was tested in the first time with Yusuf alayhi salam, he says, now again very important thing, we should not lose the hope of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. قُلْ وَمَنْ يَقْنُطُ مِنْ رَحْمَةِ رَبِّي إِلَّا الضَّالُّونَ. قل يا عبادي الذين أسرفوا على أنفسهم لا تقنطوا من رحمة الله إن الله يغفر الذنوب جميعا. So we should not lose the hope. Yaqub alayhi salam, after so much time, did not lose the hope. he still believed in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. قَالَ بَلْ سَوَّلَتْ لَكُمْ أَنفُسُكُمْ أَمْرًا. He said, indeed you have made another story from yourselves. أَسَى اللَّهُ أَنْ فَصَبْرٌ جَمِيلٌ. And then indeed patience is beautiful. أَسَى اللَّهُ أَنْ يَعْتِيَنِي بِهِمْ جَمِيعًا. Indeed if Allah wills, He will bring every one of them to me back. إِنَّهُ هُوَ الْعَلِيمُ الْحَكِيمُ. وَتَوَلَّى عَنْهُمْ وَقَالَ يَا أَسَفَ عَلَى يُوسُفَ وَابْيَضَّتْ عَيْنَهُ مِنَ الْحُزْنِ وَهُوَ كَظِيمٌ. And he went away from them and he said, oh my grief over Yusuf alayhi salam. And he became blind by the sorrow. Now, he did not go entirely blind, but he lost his sight to a very great extent because of the grief he had. He lost his vision. قالوا تالله. Now the brothers said, قالوا تالله تفتأ تذكر يوسف حتى تكون هردا وتكون من الهالكين. They said, indeed by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala you will keep mentioning Yusuf alayhi salam until you become weak with old age or until you are dead. Now the next verse. Now Yaqub alayhi salam replies to them, قال إنما أشكو بثي وحزني إلى الله وأعلم من الله ما لا تعلمون. He said, indeed I only complain of my grief, I only complain of my sorrow to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and I know from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala what you don't know. As again Yaqub alayhi salam was a prophet, he was given the knowledge of prophethood. Now we don't know how many other sons of Yaqub alayhi salam were prophets aside from Yusuf alayhi salam, but the ulama do not have a clear view on this, but it can be that other sons of Yaqub alayhi salam were also prophets. Ya bunayya yazhabu fatahassasu min Yusuf wala wa akhihi wala tayasu min rawhillah innahu la yayasu min rawhillah illa al-qawmil kafirin. Again the same thing that is being emphasized, that those people who are that are grieved from the mercy of Allah are only those people who are the disbelievers. So he says, go and inquire about Yusuf and his brother. Now the 88th verse. فَلَمَّا دَخَلُوا عَلَيْهِ قَالُوا يَا أَيُّهَا الْعَزِيزُ مَسَّنَا وَأَهْلَنَا الضُّرُّ وَجِئْنَا بِبِضَاعَةٍ مُزْجَاةٍ فَأَوْفِ لَنَا الْكَيْلَ وَتَصَدَّقْ عَلَيْنَا. So when the brothers came towards Yusuf alayhi salam again, they said, O ruler of the land, indeed a hard time has hit us in our family, and we are losing our mayor, so pay us the full mayor and be charitable to us. They were going to take provisions to stay there. Now Yusuf alayhi salam, he says, قال هل علمتم ما فعلتم بيوسف وأخيه أنتم جاهلون. He says that, did you know what you did with Yusuf alayhi salam and his brother when you were from the ignorant? Now it dawns on them after a long time. They realize, قالوا أئنك لأنت يوسف. They say, are you Yusuf alayhi salam? قال أنا يوسف وهذا أخي قد من الله علينا. He says, indeed this is me Yusuf and this is my brother. Indeed Allah has been merciful on us. إنه من يتقي ويصبر فإن الله لا يضيع أجر المحسنين. Indeed those who stay again yattaqi, who are God conscious, wa yasbir, and those who are patient, then indeed Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala rewards them. قالوا تالله لقد أسرق الله علينا وإن كنا لخاطئين. And now they realize their mistake. They said, oh indeed we have been the wrong, indeed we have been the one who have been wronged, and indeed we were the sinners. And he says, indeed they say that, indeed forgive us. قال لا تسريب عليكم اليوم يغفر الله لكم وهو أرحم الراحمين. He says that there is no reproach on you this day. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgive you, and He is the most merciful. اذهبوا بقميصي هذا فألقوه على وجه أبي فارتد بصيرا وأتوني بأهلكم أجمعين. He says that, take this shirt of mine and throw it on the face of my father. Indeed he will become again, he can see again, his vision will be regained, and bring all of your families. Now a note that I'm going to make over here, I'm going to tell you about this in the next verse. وَلَمَّا فَصَلَتِ الْعِيرُ. Now they're going towards of course the Egypt. وَلَمَّا فَصَلَتِ الْعِيرُ قَالَ أبوهم إني لأجد ريح يوسف لولا أن تفندون. Then indeed the Yaqub alayhi salam, he says that, indeed I have the scent of Yusuf if you don't think me as a person who has become old because of age. قالوا تالله إنك لفي ضلالك القديم. These were the people who said to him, who did not go to Egypt, who went to Yaqub alayhi salam. They say, indeed you are in your old error. فلما أن جاء أهل بشير ألقوه على وجهه فارتد بشيرا قال ألم أقل لكم إني أعلم من الله ما لا تعلمون. And when the bearer of glad tidings came, he threw the shirt over Yaqub alayhi salam's face. Yaqub alayhi salam saw again. He said, indeed did I tell you that I can know something from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that you don't know? قالوا يا أبانا استغفر لنا ذنوبنا إنا كنا خاطئين. They said, indeed, oh our father, forgive us, indeed we are from those who are the sinners. قال سوف أستغفر لكم ربي إنه هو الغفور الرحيم. He said, then indeed your سوف أستغفر لكم ربي, your Lord will forgive you. Indeed he is the most he is the one who is the most oft forgiving. فلما دخلوا على يوسف آوى إليه أبويه وقالوا ادخلوا مصر إن شاء الله آمنين. And indeed when they when the caravan entered, he betook to his parents and he said, enter Egypt if Allah wills in security. Now this is the timeline when the Bani Israel, they go into Egypt, and this is of course where they go into Egypt, and the exodus from Egypt is in Surah Taha. وَرَفَعَ أَبَوَيْهِ عَلَى الْأَرْشِ وَخَرُّوا لَهُ سُجَّدًا. Now after 100 verses, this story is complete. وَرَفَعَ أَبَوَيْهِ عَلَى الْأَرْشِ وَخَرُّوا لَهُ سُجَّدًا قَالَ يَا أَبَتِ هَذَا تَأْوِيلُ رُؤْيَايَ مِنْ قَبْلِ قَدْ جَعَلَهَا رَبِّي حَقًّا وَقَدْ أَحْسَنَ بِي إِذْ أَخْرَجَنِي مِنَ السِّجْنِ وَجَاءَكُم مِنَ الْبَدْوِ مِنْ بَعْدُ إِذْ نَزَغَ الشَّيْطَانُ بَيْنِي وَبَيْنَ إِخْوَتِي إِنَّ رَبِّي لَطِيفٌ لِمَا يَشَاءُ إِنَّهُ هُوَ الْعَلِيمُ الْحَكِيمُ. And indeed, then this is where this story is complete. He raises his parents onto the throne and they fell in the prostration. They said, indeed, this is the interpretation of my dream. The 11 of my brothers and my parents, the sun and the moon that has been represented, they fall in prostration. And indeed, thanks to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who has bestowed upon me so much, who has taken me out from the prison and who has saved me from the enmity between my brothers that was sown by shaitan. Indeed, my Lord is the most gracious. Now what a dua this is. Rabbi kat aataytani min al-mulki wa allimtani min ta'wil al-ahadith fatiri samawati wal arti anta waliyi fi dunya wal akhirah tawaffani musliman wal hikni bis salihin. And this is where the story of Yusuf alayhi salam ends. He says, oh Lord, indeed you have given me the knowledge, you have given me everything in this world, and you are the creator of the heavens and the earth. Make me to die as a Muslim and join me with the salihin, the good people. Now this over here is the end of the story of Yusuf alayhi salam. And the last 12 verses are about, now back to the present they go. And they say, oh Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam, this was the story, and remember you are also chosen like Yusuf alayhi salam. So again, a little bit of the timeline. So the Yusuf is about Bani Israel entering Egypt, and Surah Taha, which is also another surah which has a lot of the surah dedicated about the story of Musa alayhi salam. That is about Bani Israel exiting Egypt and going back to the Holy Land. ذَلِكَ مِنْ أَنْبَاءِ الْغَيْبِ نُوحِيهَا إِلَيْكَ وَمَا كُنْتَ لَدَيْهِمْ إِذْ أَجْمَعُوا أَمْرَهُمْ وَهُمْ يَمْكَرُونَ. This is the news of the ghaib we revealed to you, and you were not with them when this happened. وَمَا أَكْثَرُ النَّاسِ وَلَوْ حَرَصْتَ بِمُؤْمِنِينَ. And most of the mankind will not believe. They will be the majority of the people who are the disbelievers, even if you want everyone to believe. So do not فَلَعَلَّكَ بَاخِعٌ نَفْسَكَ عَلَىٰ آثَارِهِمْ وَمَا تَسْأَلُهُمْ عَلَيْهِ مِنْ أَجْرٍ إِنْ هُوَ إِلَّا ذِكْرٌ لِلْعَالَمِينَ. And no you reward you ask for them, and they still do not believe. You don't ask for them, give me money, give me any kind of riches. You just ask, believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but they still do not listen. وَكَأَيٍّ مِنْ آيَةٍ فِي السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ يَمُرُّونَ عَلَيْهَا وَهُمْ عَنْهَا مُعْرِضُونَ. And so many of the signs in the heavens and the earth, they pass by and they still are averse. Just like the sign, the stories, now they were the caravan route from Saudi Arabia towards Jordan, towards Syria, and that's where Ad and Samud and all the ruins used to live. That is also a sign. وَمَا يُؤْمِنُ أَكْثَرُهُمْ بِاللَّهِ إِلَّا وَهُمْ مُشْرِكُونَ. And not most of them believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala except they are disbelievers. So again, the minority of the people are the believers. Most of them are disbelievers. Same thing in the world right now. Even though Islam is the second biggest religion, combining all the other religions, we are still in the minority. أَفَآمِنُوا أَن تَأْتِيَهُمْ غَاشِيَةٌ مِّنْ عَذَابِ اللَّهِ أَوْ تَأْتِيَهُمُ السَّاعَةُ بَغْتَةً وَهُمْ لَا يَشْعُرُونَ. Do they feel secure in this worldly life when they know that the hour and the torment is coming near? قُلْ هَٰذِهِ سَبِيلِي أَدْعُو إِلَى اللَّهِ أَنَا وَمَنِ عَلَى بَصِيرَةٍ أَنَا وَمَنِ اتَّبَعَنِي وَسُبْحَانَ اللَّهِ وَمَا أَنَا مِنَ الْمُشْرِكِينَ. Say, indeed, this is the way I invite. This is to believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because He is the only Lord, and indeed I am not from those who are the mushrikeen, the polytheists. وَمَا أَرْسَلْنَا مِنْ قَبْلِكَ إِلَّا رِجَالًا نُوحِي إِلَيْهِم مِّنْ أَهْلِ الْقُرَىٰ. And we have not sent upon a person from the people. لَفَلَمْ يَسِيرُوا فِي الْأَرْضِ فَيَنْظُرُوا كَيْفَ كَانَ عَاقِبَةُ الَّذِينَ مِنْ قَبْلِهِمْ. Haven't we sent haven't you traveled in the earth and seen what was the ruins of Ad, the ruins of Samud, and وَلَدَارُ الْآخِرَةِ خَيْرٌ لِلَّذِينَ اتَّقَوْا أَفَلَا تَعْقِلُونَ. And indeed, the Darul Akhirah, the Akhirah, the hereafter is much better for those people who believe. Don't you see that? حَتَّى إِذَا اسْتَيْأَسَ الرُّسُلُ وَظَنُّوا أَنَّهُمْ قَدْ كُذِبُوا جَاءَهُمْ نَصْرُنَا فَنُجِّيَ مَن نَّشَاءُ وَلَا يُرَدُّ بَأْسُنَا عَنِ الْقَوْمِ الْمُجْرِمِينَ. And indeed they were reprieved, they were given the short stick, but when the messengers came, this was the final passing. لِيُخْرِجُوكَ أَوْ يَقْتُلُوكَ لِيُثْبِتُوكَ لِيُخْرِجُوكَ أَوْ يُثْبِتُوكَ أَوْ يَقْتُلُوكَ. This is in Surah Tawbah, that when finally the messenger was sent, the book was sent, it was the declaration that they will be annihilated. إِنَّ اللَّهَ لَا يُغَيِّرُ مَا بِقَوْمٍ حَتَّى يُغَيِّرُوا مَا بِأَنفُسِهِمْ. It is in Surah It is in a surah that we actually covered, I think. It's a very important verse. لَقَدْ كَانَ فِي قَصَصِهِمْ إِبْرَةً لِأُولِي الْأَلْبَابِ. Indeed, in the stories of those people who are destroyed, there's a lesson for understanding. مَا كَانَ حَدِيثٌ يُفْتَرَى وَلَكِنْ تَصْدِيقَ الَّذِي بَيْنَ يَدَيْهِ وَتَفْسِيرَ كُلِّ شَيْءٍ وَهُدًى وَرَحْمَةً لِقَوْمٍ يُؤْمِنُونَ. This Quran is not a forced statement, but the existing books of Allah, like the Tawrat, the Injil, it is a confirmation of that and a continuity of that. And indeed, in this is a guide for those people who believe. This is the end of Surah Yusuf, which is the 11th surah of the Quran. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us the tawfiq to be guided upon the right path, upon the path which is from the Sabiqun as-Sabiqun, Ulaika al-Muqarrabun, upon the path of the messengers, upon the path of the prophets, upon the path of the Ashab Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, upon the path of the Tabi'in and Taba Tabi'in, and those people who are the awliya of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guide us on that path. This is one of the final days of the first Ashra of Ramadan. So I hope everyone is prepared for the second Ashra to gear up and increase the understanding of Quran and Salat and to reap the rahmas and barakas of this wonderful month. The pro tip for today of Ramadan is that remember to plan your ashras as best as possible. The first ashra, it was just a warm up. Now the second ashra is in full form, and the third ashra is when we should ramp up our ibadat so that we can get closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. ربنا أتمم لنا نورنا واغفر لنا إنك على كل شيء قدير ربنا لا تجعلنا فتنة للذين كفروا واغفر لنا ربنا إنك أنت العزيز الحكيم هو الله الخالق البارئ المصور له الأسماء الحسنى يسبح له ما في السماوات وما في الأرض هو العزيز الحكيم. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.